In this episode, we're going to go back where we made some marketing predictions for 2023, and we're going to give ourselves some grades. We'll see ChatGPT AI integrations in all of our marketing software by the end of the year.
We'll see more behind the scenes content from businesses.
Google will finally get its social network with YouTube Shorts.
An expansion of business loyalty programs.
Media companies will increasingly target big live events.
Stock photos on website will start to impact website traffic.
Paid social media is coming. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Frustrated by Your Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Jim D'Amico, and I'm joined by my host, Madison McQuistion. And this is episode 20. We're really proud that we made it to 20 episodes, even though we launched in late March of this year. And it's been a great time. We've had a lot of fun doing it. And thanks so much for being along for the ride. In this episode, we're going to go back to our third episode where we made some marketing predictions for 2023, and we're going to give ourselves some grades, how we think we did. So we're going to go through them. There were 7 of them, and we're going to go through each one. We'll talk about them in a little bit, and we'll give you some thoughts on how well we did, and more importantly, like what's coming with these predictions in the future. So the first prediction was mine, and I said that we'll see ChatGPT AI integrations in all of our marketing software by the end of the year.
Yep.
A little bit of a softball prediction, but I'm going to give myself an A+ on that because not only is it in all of our software, but it's in software almost to the point of ridiculousness. And, it's become certainly a sales tool for software companies and just for the marketing industry or all industries in general, for sure. We've got it in, I know I mentioned this in the other podcast, it's in Grammarly. It's in Elementor. It's in
some of the social apps now too.
It's in the social apps. It's on Amazon now. Your reviews are curated.
Adobe.
It's in Adobe. Yeah, it's heavily integrated into Adobe.
Yep.
With generative, fill and all sorts of different things. There's a ton of great tutorials on that, so a lot of fun to watch. It's in ClickUp. That's our productivity software. That's one of those ones where I think it's a little bit to the point of ridiculousness. I don't really see a use case for it. Maybe in larger businesses, it would make sense. But I would say that if you don't have it, it's going to be really hard for you to sell software in the coming years. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I also would say that in the case of Elementor and in the case of ClickUp, they're charging more for it. And I almost feel like at this point, it's becoming expected. So, not that you can't raise your prices as a provider to, the people in the marketing industry and other industries, but I think it shouldn't be an add-on because people are going to just go to a competitor that has it built right in because, it has become an expectation at this point.
Well, I feel like over the last couple of months, we've already seen how much AI has grown. I was working on the Bing image creator. I don't know if you've messed around with that, but no. I've even seen a couple of times how much that has changed with, you used to have to be really, really specific on what you were looking for. And now you can kind of get away with not being as specific and it gives you exactly what you want. And I think ChatGPT too, we've seen multiple versions of that now, right? Isn't it like 3.0 right now?
So it's on 4.0 now, and 4.0. the newest thing coming with that, and this is why this prediction will continue to have legs, is that now they have the ability to create your own GPTs, which is on my 2024 sort of to-do list for myself or goal list for myself, which is where you can build your own. You can use ChatGPT to build your own mini prompt-based apps. So if there's something in your, to run through your finances or to run, you could create one specifically for responding to reviews for a specific client. You would spit in a bunch of text and you would say, this is how I want you to respond. And you can train it basically and have it be kind of your, not really proprietary. All of this is open. So if you put it in there, other people, they won't necessarily see what you put in, but it's part of their learning model. But you could build your own little programs that are very specific and not have to remember the prompts. It'll sort of be baked in, and then you would just basically have to put in a review, and it would kick out a response based on how you've trained it, which is amazing. And so, yeah, there's that, and Google had Bard, and now they have Gemini. There's a lot of proprietary AIs as well. that are separate of those two. I mean, it was already in everything, and now it's really at the forefront of everything. And it's, a really good marketing tool for these software companies to sell their software, because it's, if it doesn't have it, you're not gonna subscribe at this point. Sure.
Yeah. So my first prediction was we'll see more behind the scenes content from businesses. And I feel like I've seen this both ways. I didn't think this was a great prediction, but I think this is one thing that we'll grow into in 2024, is seeing more of this. Because there's been two things I've seen. One, definitely more behind the scenes content, but also using music, because trending music right now is the big thing on Instagram. I don't know if you've noticed that, trending sounds.
Oh, absolutely. And I've seen it. I think it's out there. Maybe didn't like take it over by storm, but I will say another one of my goals or sort of to-do list items for 2024 is to play around with Clapper some more. That's that app that we used when we were doing one of our social media episodes. And I did a test video on that however many months ago, 6-7 months ago, and I'm still getting likes on that same video without doing anything other than I created a profile, I posted a video, I haven't interacted with anybody, and I still get a couple likes every day. And that is a really gritty version. It's even more gritty than TikTok. And so, I think that proves the trend. And maybe, part of it will be what platform you're on, because, we had reviewed Lemonade, and that was very refined and clean. And, Clapper and TikTok and Instagram Reels to a lesser degree are more gritty in real life. So, maybe it'll also depend on where you're viewing the stuff.
And that's the crazy thing with Instagram too, that I've noticed, is a lot of times they say, if you try a sound or music or something like that and it doesn't take off, it doesn't mean it won't. Because there's a lot of times where people will use sounds a couple of times and then somebody will use it for a video and it will just get a ton of traffic and everybody will be using that sound, which will just boost your views. So even if, you don't get a lot of views on a video 1 week, doesn't mean that, 3 months from now, you won't get more views, because it can skyrocket like crazy and after a period of time. So
yeah, and that's why I'm so interested in playing around with Clapper, is usually after a week, a couple of days, the organic traffic on a post or a video is over. No one's going to see it. The algorithm is not going to show it. So if trending music is a way for that to have some more legs, that's really nice. Obviously you can pay for it to be seen for longer periods of time, but anything you can do to have that tail last a little bit longer is great for sure. Okay, so what grade are you going to give yourself? Do you?
I would honestly, with that one, I'd probably say high C.
High C.
I'm not feeling very confident about my predictions, so.
Okay, I had given you a B. So when I went through, I had given you a B on that.
I think you're being too nice.
Too nice? Okay.
Yeah, I think my predictions were crap, but.
Okay, so do you want to do? Let's do B minus then. I'll change it to B minus.
Okay, that makes me feel good. All right.
Okay, because again, it's not that we're not seeing it at all. Again, I think the big, the reason that's not an A is it didn't. We're still seeing very refined, very well planned out videos. So it's not like...
Yeah, yep. And like I said, I think mine will end up being long term. We'll see it over 2024 for sure. But...
and or not, the thing I guess I'm the most curious about as I continue to read that the way we interact with social media has dramatically changed and continues to change. And it's become to the point where, I don't remember what the stat is, but it's like something like only 10% of people are posting and the other 90% are viewing. And that, was closer to, I don't know if it was 50-50, but at one point it was 50-50. So we're really going to social media to watch. And if we're going to watch something, we probably want it to be, some production value. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. It would be really nice if if the Clapper, social media platforms of the world actually encourage us to do it on our own. And at that point, the gritty and the real life will come in more. So I don't know. Or maybe it'll just become the trend where we want to watch, production value where it's a little bit more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
It's something we'll have to see. But I don't think this prediction is going away. I think it's something that will continue to evolve for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. What was your next one?
My next one was Google will finally get its social network with YouTube Shorts. So I'm going to give myself a B- on that one. At some point, it's really hard to find these stats, but at some point recently, I don't remember what even month it was, they had gotten to 2 billion monthly views, which is a lot for sure, but they're Google and they're YouTube. So it's not like they're taking over. They're still not even close to TikTok numbers.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm not going to give myself an A on this is I don't hear about it really anymore. It's, when I made this prediction, it was, I was seeing people trying to send you to their YouTube Shorts channel from Instagram and TikTok. It was being mentioned everywhere. Now it's just sort of mentioned.
Yeah, there's not as much hype about it now. There was so much hype about it earlier this year, and I feel like we've definitely seen that die down. Like, I honestly totally forgot that YouTube Shorts was a thing, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
and it's not.
You.
Yeah, and I don't have a ton of experience on it as a producer or as a content creator. I've got we've uploaded some stuff from this podcast. My son has a fun little YouTube channel where we've uploaded some silly videos for him, and the tail and my nephew uses it or used it. I don't think he's even using it anymore. He actually had some pretty good success. He had a couple go semi-viral where he got a few thousand views, which is for a kid is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
but the tail on it is super short. A day and it's like done. Sometimes even like hours and it's over, which is interesting because there's not, in the grand scheme of people watching YouTube, it's a lot less. So you'd think they'd be encouraging it more and pushing it more to try to get, to get people excited about it more and have it, if it had some more legs, people would post more and people, it's sort of, that snowball effect, but I'm not seeing that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I still think, it is their social network, I guess, so I guess that's why I'm giving myself a B- and not a D, but it's just not, even if it's growing, it's not growing in the same way as the others. It's less part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that if we asked someone back in March, is it a big part of your content plan for the year? They would have answered yes. And I think if you ask them now, they would say no.
Almost kind of like Threads. We saw Threads, boost there for a while and everybody was using it. Now nobody is using it.
Right. And so that is going to be part of my 2024 predictions. I have a very strong prediction about so that's a teaser, Threads and X, Twitter. I have a prediction of what's going to happen to the two of those platforms in 2024. So I guess we'll see.
I can't even log on to X. So I'm a little bitter right now.
Why can't you log on?
I have been trying to log on to X for the last 3 months. And every single time I get past, my account's created, every time I get past the login page, just won't do anything. It's
and
weird.
you started this
restarted
process.
My phone, and I've deleted the app and reloaded the app, and I'm just not meant to have X.
Did you start at post Elon era? You didn't have an account before?
No.
Okay, so maybe that's why. I have a lot of predictions about this. Some I'm going to roll back on some of my comments about Elon that were super positive throughout the year. I still don't know what that crazy genius millionaire is going to do, but it's hard to respect some of his decisions, and it's hard to, see the light at the end of the tunnel because it's very winding, and it's very possible that the software is corrupted because he's not paying for as many developers as they need, and the whole business is sort of crumbling. So
it's still downloaded on my phone, but I'm boycotting it right now because it's not working.
Okay, very good. Okay, so anyways, that's my second one. What is your next one?
My next one was there will be an expansion of business loyalty programs.
Okay.
Which I think that's just been steady too. Most places I go to now, there's definitely business loyalty programs. So I think it just depends on where you go.
I don't remember what I originally had. I'm curious what you graded yourself, but I originally had this lower, and then I had two experiences with loyalty in the last couple weeks. One was I was with a buddy. We went to Buffalo Wild Wings. I had an old loyalty account, and the wait staff not berated me, but I couldn't remember what phone number. They're like, well, let's try another phone number. Like they were really
trying to get you to do it. Yeah.
Aggressively trying to get me to find this old loyalty account. And we recently, went sort of Christmas shopping and went to American Eagle. We had an old loyalty. We're not an old loyalty. We have a loyalty account with them. And I got a bunch of emails that now I'm leveled up because, sort of gifts were purchased and now, more dollars spent. And I think the reason I had it lower is I think for the exact reason that this was so easy, but I think that what loyalty programs has happened to them is that they've become like the card is gone, right? So before you'd have a card.
Yeah, it's digital now. Yeah.
You'd have a little key card or you'd have an app. Now it's just based on a phone number, email address. They've made it like they just want the data. They don't care. They're going to give you some money, but they want it tied to your credit card. They want it tied to your email. They want it tied to your phone number. They want to make it as simple for you as possible. If you don't, there's no, the whole punch card world. I think that's mostly gone. I mean, there's, in some very, very local niche, like your coffee shop.
Yep.
It still exists, but I think now it's just, I
most
want that data.
PCOS systems now even have like a loyalty program built in to like the software. So it's just there, so you might as well use it. I mean, some of them have a fee for you to use it, but if you're having like punch cards and things, you're already having to buy those punch cards. We used to get ours on Shutterfly, and so we would make them, order them, and so you're still like pretty much paying the same amount either way. But I guess the hard thing with the digital thing is, people always now keep track of their points or freebies and things like that because it's attached to a phone number and email. Whereas if you had an actual punch card, there's a pretty good chance that someone would lose them. So every time we gave out punch cards, we always knew that, we were like, oh, not a lot of people bring these back because they lose them. So it's like kind of, in between.
Right. And so it should be priced in a way that you want them, if they're playing fair, to like, you want them to win because you're going to win. You know what I mean? So here's a $5 reward, come in and spend 40. So, it should be something like that. And so, so I think your prediction was pretty good. And, another one great example is McDonald's. Like I follow them, their marketing is excellent and they continue to do app only rewards throughout the year. So if you want to get free Fridays, or if you want to get this special, I don't know what it was. There was some special giveaway that you had to, maybe some special sauce or something. You had to use the app to get it.
I think Starbucks too. We just went to Starbucks the other day, and to be able to do their loyalty program, you have to have the app.
Right. But this was actually like a menu item too. I think it was maybe the Big Mac sauce as a dipping sauce for chicken nuggets or something like that. That was one of them. So in order to get that, like you couldn't order it unless you use the app. Like they wouldn't give it to you otherwise. So they're again, in their case, it's an app, but they're McDonald's, so they get away with it. And they're really, really pushing it. So I think it's good. So what did you grade yourself on this one?
Yeah, I'll do like a B.
Okay, so I gave you a B. I gave you a B plus. Yeah, I gave you a B plus. I think it's pretty good.
This is perfect for me. I was always like a straight B student, so
B plus is good.
Except for math. Math was always a C, but
Okay. Okay, so my next one was, I didn't do good on this one at all. I said, media companies will increasingly target big live events as we become more curated and fragmented. They're going to look for those events to like bring us all together and get those eyes on the screen, the excitement, for attention for that particular show and their channels.
Is it?
And the thing that made me make this prediction was the Chris Rock special where he talked about the slap with Will Smith, and it was supposedly a big thing on Netflix, but it didn't do really well in the numbers. You hadn't even heard about it at the time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't even know about it.
But I still thought it was a good prediction, but it was a pretty big fail. With the exception of sports, I haven't heard anything. I don't know.
I feel like we're still getting back into that too after COVID, though, at least like big events wise. I feel like I haven't seen as many things as before COVID. I feel like we're still getting back into it.
Well, this would be less like about an in-person event and more about like the season finale excitement or the
gotcha.
like when you watch a live sporting event, it's only exciting during the event, right? Because then after that, everybody knows the score. So it's like trying to be almost a FOMO. I'm part of it. And in a way, really the complete opposite happened. So Taylor Swift made a ton of money releasing a movie where she took a live event, her concert, and made it, so she kind of did this, but she took a live event, her concert, and she brought it into theaters where you could go at any point. And then this sort of leads into, this is why I'm not going to give myself an F on this. A bunch of fans, teenage girls primarily, I think that's sort
who
of
couldn't afford tickets.
Who couldn't afford tickets went and sort of made concerts for themselves at the theater, and then people were complaining. So they were like cheering and dancing, which sounds like so awesome. It's super exciting that they did that. So there's a want, our culture wants this, and media companies can make a lot of money from it, but nobody with Taylor Swift did it.
And that's a really good comparison, though, because I haven't really followed along with Taylor Swift recent years because I'm a hardcore old Taylor Swift fan. Grew up with old Taylor Swift, so new Taylor Swift, I'm not like totally a fan, but that's just
I don't know
opinion.
the difference. I like her. I don't know if she's not like, I don't have any Taylor Swift playlists, but I hear her songs. She's good.
Yeah, and her music now is a lot different than it used to. I mean, she started out as like country.
Right, okay.
So it's a big change because now she's more of like a modern pop singer. So she's changed quite a bit. But with I think it was the Eras tour, I'm pretty sure is the one that they did in theaters. Like you said, I mean, her shows were sold out for a crazy amount of money for tickets. And so doing it that way in theaters was a way that people could enjoy the experience without actually, having to buy expensive tickets to be at that show. And I know it was still a huge deal. Like I was seeing so many posts of people going to these, movie theaters to see her concert.
Yeah, it was like mini live events in a way. And that's why I made that prediction, is we crave this, like we crave the sharing, because if you were to watch that concert video by yourself in your living room with popcorn, with your kids or with
it's not as fun.
with your friends, like it's good, but it's not the same as even 200 people in a theater or whatever. I don't know. Theaters got smaller because the chairs are so big. It used to be 300 or so, but that's exciting. You kind of feed on each other. So I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with that in 2024 though, because maybe she is going to set that in motion because that was such a big deal. I bet a lot more singers and concerts and things like that might start doing things like that. And that would be good for theaters too, because not everyone goes to theaters anymore either. Because we can get movies on our TV through all of our movie
devices,
apps and things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe that's the tweak to the prediction, is that movie theaters will make it that you come and do Rocky Horror Picture Show where you're like interacting with the screen, that type of thing.
Only takes one person to do something and then everybody does it. So maybe that'll be her, since she's so popular right now.
Right. And if that person happens to make a ton of money, in this case she did, that also will lead to people trying to copycat it. So maybe that'll be it. But anyways, long story short, I give myself a D on this. I don't think it was the prediction did not pan out. But maybe next year, we'll see. Well, maybe we'll check. We'll always go back to previous year's predictions and see if we just predicted them a little bit too early.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what's your last one?
My last one is stock photos on website will start to impact website traffic, which you and I as website developers, I mean, we see this already. I don't feel like I've seen a huge shift in that this year, but I think it's coming. Because, it gets to a point where I have dozens or quite a few free stock websites that I go to. And all of the other stock websites also have those photos. And so I feel like they're just going to start getting way overused, which I've already seen. And I think it's more of a long-term prediction, but we see it, impacting website traffic already compared to having good actual photos that you take of your business, of your customers.
Right. Yeah. So I would say I didn't see any change on this year, but it's still true. It's certainly one of the trust factors. We talked about this, whether it was in the prediction episode or another one, that stock photos are less trustworthy than real photos. And what I wonder, because we just launched a site for a tile and tub reglazing company, and there's a nice mix on it of some pretty let's just say, okay, real life before and after photos. Like they're pretty bad. They don't match up. The before and afters, like the angles don't match up, and they're kind of grainy. And we did some quick photo editing on them just to make them passable. And then some pretty high end stock photos, for the hero images. So you found some really great ones that are beautiful, bathtubs and bathrooms. And I really like that juxtaposition there. And I feel like what it does is, because if our hero images were these really grainy, kind of ugly ones, I feel like you'd bounce just from the fact that the site looked less professional.
Yeah, definitely.
And not everybody has the ability to get, hire a professional photographer to come to get the perfect ones. But at the same time, if we didn't have these realistic before and afters, they might not think the business was real or not know. So maybe it'll be how to use them together. Maybe that's going to be the change, like a little bit of both.
And we've been doing that with so many more of our websites now too, is doing a mix of photos. Because photos make a huge difference on how a website looks. Like you said, you could go to a website and see a bunch of grainy pictures and it wouldn't be as aesthetically pleasing as, all these really nice photos. But if you go to a website that has all of these stock images that you can tell are stock images, then it doesn't seem real either. So having a good mix of the two is super important.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So what did you grade yourself on this one?
Low C.
Low
C
C
minus.
Okay. I gave you a flat C. I think it's a flat. Again, it's a good prediction. The reason why it's not an A is that nothing changed. Like I didn't read any. It's true. It's it's definitely true.
It's very just steady.
It just didn't get any worse. And so you have to see, right? So yeah, you just you passed. I think it's good.
Ooh.
So yeah. Okay, so I had one last one. This is my mostly long-term prediction. I'm going to give myself a B on this because of half of it, but really the other half is probably worse.
Yeah.
And that is paid social media is coming, and that eventually Web 3.0 is going to evolve to give more control to the user when they're using their social media. So that was sort of a really long-term pie in the sky thing where we're going to have the ability to host to essentially an RSS feed and have our content go out to everybody, depending on what category we put them in. So that step one, or one of the steps in the direction of that happened with Threads. And that's when Meta, they sort of announced that they're going to host, eventually Threads will integrate with the Fediverse, which I had never heard the specific term for, but that is kind of part of this whole idea of a more decentralized social media network for the whole world.
Well, and I think the other thing on that note too is now you have to pay to be a verified account. So to have that blue check mark, you have to pay $15 a month to have that check mark show up next to your account, which is crazy to me because it used to be that people, who had a lot of followers, a lot of views, they would get those verified accounts because they're, social media gods, I guess.
Right.
But now you have to pay for it. So people who even maybe have 600 followers or not a lot of views, you can just pay $15 a month to seem more like a verified account, which I feel like defeats the purpose, but I think that goes along with your prediction for sure.
Right. So I think it's coming. Yeah. So that some people are already paying other than just for advertising. So that's a good step. Some people are paying Meta, some people are paying X. And the other thing is, I don't know if it's all Chinese social media companies or just Weibo, which I think might be their Twitter. Don't quote me that that's even the name, but I believe that's the name of the company. They're requiring verification, not paid verification, but verification that you're a human behind the account.
Yes, I have seen that too recently with and starting new Instagram accounts. I've seen that.
Okay,
so you send a photo of yourself with the code they send you.
Right. Okay.
Which is so strange.
Now, when you did that, was that for Madison Gray, the author?
Is it?
Okay. So you don't necessarily, and I think that's good as long as you can still create branded accounts. So I don't necessarily think that if you send in your license that you're only allowed one account as Madison, no question like that.
Is it?
You should be able to have, a book Instagram and your rock climbing Instagram, and like you should be able to create as many as you want, but they should know that behind all of those is this real life person who, if you start doing bad things, nefarious things that are against their policies, they just shut you off. And now, and they do that now, but if you're not verified, you just pop up with another email address. Like that's your verification. So now you're kind of done, and they'll get rid of the spam on Facebook in general is just like completely out of control lately with, your account is against our policies. We're going to take you down, trying to get you to, I don't even know what they want, but it's bad.
I've barely been using Facebook anymore just because I feel like Facebook has definitely gone downhill quite a bit compared to, I think they put all their focus on Instagram.
Well, I mean, it's their shiny, I guess it's not really new anymore, but it's certainly their
newer compared to Facebook.
Their newer toy, and it's also the one that's getting more attention. But I still, Facebook is still the biggest social network I think it's as far as, I can't remember. There's two metrics, but TikTok wins in one respect and Facebook wins in the other. But I think it's like monthly active users. I think Facebook wins, and maybe like time on screen, that TikTok wins. Something like that. Because again, it's where grandma is, it's where grandpa is, it's where cousins are, so it's still really that family network. But so long story short, if China's doing this, I think eventually the US will do this. And if now they're having you verify, it's one step closer to paid. Like I know that seems like maybe an illogical jump, but it's becoming more like an account, like a bank account or a business account versus just this random thing you create and you have no skin in the game. So I think that will lead us there eventually. I don't know how many years it's going to take, but I think at some point we're all going to be paying for something. I hope it's for this decentralized network where we get to kind of pick, but for all we know, we're just going to be paying Meta because they're really big and they want our money.
Yeah. So what grade did you give yourself on this one?
So I gave myself a B on this one because I give myself a little bit of a bump because the fact that Threads is already thinking about the Fediverse, and I didn't think that was going to happen for a while. And again, I didn't know the term Fediverse until they announced it, but I knew the concept, and I think that that's super exciting. So maybe that won't be a 10-year plan. Maybe that'll happen in 5. I don't know. And then the other points, I don't know. I mean, yes, we're paying for verified checkmarks, but I think we probably were already doing that in March. Nothing really new in that respect. So I still think it's coming. It just, nothing really moved on the needle this year. So.
We'll probably start seeing more things here and there popping up in that area.
So we should probably always check when we check back. We'll probably do a check back on the previous year's one too to see like, oh, now all of a sudden it's moving a little bit faster because I'm not going to make these same predictions, but maybe we were just a little bit too early. Let's see. So those were them. Those were our 7 predictions. Like I said, we're going to make our 2024 predictions in early January. And we hope that this comes out in December. If it comes out in early January, then we're sorry.
Good.
But happy New Year either way to everybody. And again, thanks so much for being along on this journey. It's been really fun. I'm so glad we did it. And I'm excited about 2024. Hopefully we're hoping to be in more of a rhythm where we have a bunch of new guests planned and, a bunch of fun. We have sort of internal in our ClickUp app where we put a bunch of, show ideas. We've got, dozens of them. So we've got plenty of content that we can go to. And that's what we'll do in 2024.
More coming.
So subscribe, and we will see you next year.
Yeah. See you guys later.
Bye.